Well, I've just arrived at the Nanika Kidprice canoe route. Here I go. So I'm looking back at the launch there. Already this is beautiful. There's nobody else here, and this is a giant park, so it's gonna be pretty nice to have it to myself. And I'm on the portage trail between Lamprey Lake and Anzac Lake. It's about 1.5 kilometers. Here I am, Anzac Lake. Beautiful and quiet. I set out at about 5:30 p.m. and it's about 6:30 now. There's a campsite on this little island here, but I think I'm gonna keep going a bit. I'm almost at the end of the lake and there's another campsite there, so I'm gonna check that out. This is quite the campsite. Picnic table, fire ring, firewood. There's even a hatchet and a splitting maul in the bear cache. So I could have a fire if I wanted to, but I didn't really bring anything to cook on a fire. I think I'll just get set up and figure things out. Well, it's 9 p.m. and it's getting kind of dark, so I think I'm gonna say goodnight. So far, so good. Good morning. I'm all packed up and ready to go. It's only about a 10-minute walk to the next lake. As soon as I went to bed, though, I started hearing wolves howling last night. They didn't get super close, which was good, but it was a little bit eerie. It looks like a pretty strong headwind. At least the waves aren't very big. I'm just taking a break in the lee of this point. The wind is just howling out there, so I don't know how much progress I'm going to make this morning. It's tough going. I'm halfway along Step Lake, and I'm taking another break here at the trailhead for Tableland Mountain. This is another great campground. Plenty of cut firewood, beautiful pebble beach, tent sites with pebbles over the pretty soft ground, not a lot of rocks. More beach over there, and sheltered from the wind. Well, that was pretty cool. A moose just swam across the lake in front of me. A bit far away, I'm not sure if the footage will work out. It's really hard to film when the Packraft is bouncing around in the waves. I'm at the end of Step Lake, and there's the beaver dam that I have to haul over. So I'm at the Step Kidprice Portage Trail. Just paddled the length of Step Lake. Now I'm here. Gotta walk to Kidprice Lake. Look at all these berry bushes. They're a little past their prime, but there's still lots of berries. Look at this forest. It's just been devastated by the pine beetle. So I've arrived here at Kidprice Lake, and it's even windier than Step Lake. But it's another beautiful campsite, an even more beautiful lake, beautiful mountains. If I had brought a book or something, I might just stay here, but it's only 3 p.m. and I've got 6 hours of daylight left, so I'm gonna walk along the beach for a while towards the next campsite. There are some cliffs that I won't be able to get past, but I might be able to get part of the way there at least. And then I'll either camp on the beach or paddle to the next campsite. Well, for the most part, the beach has been great, except now these alders are overhanging the water, and they're incredibly thick. Let me show you. This is what I'm trying to push through right now. The water is right there. And going into the forest is no better. So it's not a long section, but I don't know if it's worth it. I just nailed my groin on that stick that was hiding behind this bush. Oh. I've walked all the way from the end of the lake, way over there, all along the shore to here. Well, I've reached the cliffs. They're just around the corner there. I'm just hiding from the wind here. It's as windy as ever. I'm gonna hike up into that burn there and hopefully find a way over this little hill. And then I should have a view of the bay that's on the other side of this cliff. And that's where the river goes in, and there's a big waterfall that is sort of the main attraction of this trip. So I'm gonna check that out, see if I can find a way across. Maybe I'll end up camping on this side. I'm not sure yet. Look at these huckleberries. They're gigantic. And there's so many of them. All these red bushes are all huckleberries. I've never seen a patch like this. It's amazing. And there are blueberries too. Look at these clumps. Well, there's supposed to be a trail here, according to the map. Maybe this burn is newer than the trail. I'm almost at the Nanika River, so I might follow the track on the map where the trail is supposed to be down to the water and see what it looks like. I can't see it from here. Look at this. There's a cable car across the river, but some idiot tied it to the other side. That's the Nanika River, and I guess the waterfall is just over there. I think I can paddle across this without going over the waterfall though. This looks fine. Much nicer than way out there. Well, I found this nice little campsite. There's a flat spot right there for my tent. I've got a view out over the lake there. Lots of firewood if I want to have a fire. I was reading the signs on these things, and there's a water monitoring station. That's what that little building is there. I guess they monitor the water levels. I don't know why they needed a cable car to get across the river. Wonder how much that cost. Well, it's 5:40 p.m. I feel like I've accomplished a lot today. I don't know how far I've actually gone, but I worked hard. I'm gonna set up camp here. And it's just starting to rain. I'm really exhausted from battling that headwind earlier. And I think I'm just gonna go to bed. But my camp is looking pretty cozy. I've had dinner already, had some hot chocolate. Feeling pretty good. Good morning. It rained last night and it's just starting to rain again. And I just got up to check the lake. It's not quite as windy as it was yesterday. I'm gonna check out the waterfall this morning and get packed up, and maybe the wind will die down. Maybe it'll get stronger. Is it a grizzly bear or a wolf? Not too windy, at least right here. I can see that it's windier farther beyond that point, but I should be able to paddle today. It's only about 5 or 6 kilometers to the end of the lake, so even if it's windy like yesterday, I should be able to make it. It's actually not too bad. I think the wind has a bit of an offshore component, and I'm sticking close to the beach here. I'm making a lot better progress than I was yesterday. Things are looking up. I just soaked my shoes and socks. I was getting out of the Packraft on this little beach, and the rocks I stepped on just slipped into the water. I'm just taking a little break in the lee of this point. Basically right after I told you that the wind was not too bad, it picked up and I was getting splashed, and the waves are a bit choppy when it's not sheltered, but it's still not too bad, not as bad as yesterday. So gonna have a little snack here. It's a pretty nice beach. It looks sandier at the other end, but where it's rocky, you don't get covered in sand. It's raining over there. That's the way I want to go. There's a river flowing between Nanika Lake, which is back there, and this lake, but it's flowing this way. If I hike there, I don't know if there's enough water to paddle back, so I'm going to check out the mouth. But if I hike there, I think I'll want to go sort of in the high ground there, because if I try and make my way through the forest, it's going to get really swampy and difficult. So I have to decide if I want to even bother. It would be bushwhacking about 8 or 9 kilometers to the next lake and then paddling back down the river. But if the river isn't paddleable, I'm not going to bother, because bushwhacking both ways does not sound appealing. Even going one way is kind of iffy. I don't know, I'll take a look. Well, I made it to the end of the lake. This is the mouth of the Nanika River where it flows into Kidprice Lake. And it's flowing pretty well, definitely enough to paddle down. There are some fairly fresh moose tracks here. The moose must have crossed the river here. Looks like some wolf prints. A couple different sizes. I think what I'll do is I'll hike upstream a little bit, and then if it gets too difficult, I'll head off into the bush for higher ground. And then if it's really difficult, I'm just not going to bother, because this is an out and back trip and there's really no reason to go there other than curiosity. So, and after only 100 meters or so, I'm into the bush. And it's not the worst bush I've ever seen, but there are plenty of obstacles to get around. I'm just trying to pick my way through the easiest path that more or less trends in the direction I want to go. Here's another look at the Nanika River. I've been bushwhacking through this hell. I didn't think I would need a compass on this trip, but with this gray overcast sky, it's hard to maintain my direction in the bush. Look at the size of these salmon berries. Amazing. I've reached a sea of Devil's Club, which is not my favorite thing. If I can't find an easier path than what I've been going on, I might just head to the river and paddle back to the lake. Well, I've been at this for about an hour, and I've covered about a 1/12 of the distance between the two lakes. So realistically, I don't think I'm gonna get there today, in which case it doesn't really make much sense to carry on. It's about 2 in the afternoon, so I think what I'll do is make my way back over towards the river and paddle down the river and just enjoy some time on the lake and see what happens. Well, I made it back to the river. It's really quite beautiful. There are all sorts of animal tracks I've been following, game trails, and there are these moose tracks, wolf tracks. All right, I'm ready to go. Should be much faster downstream. There's the lake. Well, I just arrived at the lake after about 15 minutes on the river. It was a beautiful paddle. I don't know if I would recommend it. It's really woody, kind of dangerous that way, but none of the log jams went all the way across the river, so I was able to paddle all the way. But now I'm back at the lake, and now the wind is on my side. I'm gonna go on the other side of the lake on the way back and check that out. It's so quiet. The biggest waves are from my wake. Look at that, there were moose tracks underwater. It's about waist deep here. Fairly far from shore, like 30 meters or so, 100 feet. There's a bit of a tailwind starting to pick up. And I've reached the first set of cliffs. It's really beautiful. Super peaceful still. From here I have a nice view of the mountains. Some glaciers up there. I just stopped here to take off my rain jacket because it's not raining. Oh! I'm just across the lake from where I camped last night. And the sun decided to come out. How about that? Oh my God. I thought I lost my wedding ring, but I found it. I've got it here. Oh my God. I need a minute. I was putting things into my tent there and I looked at my hand and realized that I didn't have my wedding ring on. And I panicked for a second and then I had to just calm down. The last time I remember seeing it was out on the lake. And I was thinking, oh, I don't know. So I started picking up things in the tent carefully. I shook out my clothes. Then I picked up my sleeping bag and it dropped out into my tent. And what must have happened was when I took my sleeping bag out of the stuff sack, I shook it to get air into it, and my ring must have slid down off my finger and into the sleeping bag. That's the first time it's come off in 3 years. Not only is it my wedding ring, but I made it. And I made it out of gold that my grandfather panned in the 1960s. Not only is it irreplaceable, but it's doubly irreplaceable. Okay, I can calm down now. It's starting to rain. It's kind of dark. So I'll see you in the morning. Good morning. I had a rude awakening in the middle of the night. It was raining, and the way that this tent is designed, water is supposed to run down the outside, and then it's supposed to drip off of there. And failing that, it's supposed to run down this no-seam mesh and then fall down. But the mesh is so fine, the surface tension of the water can hold it. It started running down into the tent, and the edge of my sleeping bag is all wet now. Another design flaw with this Plexamid is that these cords are supposed to stop that kind of thing from happening, but they made them out of shock cord. So that was pointless. And there aren't any in the corners. It would be fine if that was held up like that. At the 3 corners, there's nothing holding it up so water can run down. And it has before. I've had it run in through the corners as well. Just drip down here and slowly soak my gear. And I've also had it where I've got stuff at the end pushing on the wall enough that the mesh angles down towards the tent, and then the water flows in. So I've been lying here awake, thinking of ways to fix it, and I think I've come up with some ideas, but nothing that I can do here in the field. I'll have to do it at home. So, Z-Pack's Plexamid. Echo! So not only did my sleeping bag get wet last night, but all my dry clothes did too. And my sleeping pad and basically everything that I would want to be dry in an emergency. So that's great. I'm just getting packed up here, trying to decide if I should wear my soaking wet pants or go commando and wear rain pants on a day with not a cloud in the sky so far. I think I'm just gonna suck it up and put on my wet pants. But I need to gird my courage before I do that. Oh, there's nothing quite like putting on soaking wet underwear and pants outside on a brisk morning. One last look around to make sure I didn't leave anything behind. My tent kept the ground dry. That's nice. Goodbye! Now back to Step Lake. So it's Monday today, and I haven't seen anyone since Friday night. This park is amazing. Very well maintained trails and campsites, but nobody here on a weekend in August. It's pretty special. Well, I'm back at Step Lake, and it feels like I'm gonna have a headwind again, going the other direction. That's pretty. There's a bit of a headwind, but it's not too strong. That's Tableland Mountain up there. There's a trail up to there, but I don't think I'm gonna do it today. And just like that, I'm back at Anzac Lake. I'm almost finished paddling the length of Anzac Lake. And then it's just one more portage and then Lamprey Lake. And that's the end. What a cool trip. Oh, what a beautiful day. Here I am at Lamprey Lake. Only one short paddle to go. Made it. Well, that trip had a few ups and downs, but overall it was great. Oh. Well, the car's all packed up. I'm feeling like $100 and I'm starving. So I'm gonna go find something greasy to eat and call it a day. Thanks for coming along. See you next time.